Hello YouTube, this is a Wi-Fi battle between me and ChaoticDraven. Sorry if I mispronounced your YouTuber name. Not very good at pronouncing stuff. And I'll start the battle. I lead off with my Aerodactyl, while he leads off with his Hippowdon. And I get off the pressure, and he gets off the Sandstream, which boosts up my defenses by 50%, or special defenses by 50%, since Aerodactyl's part rock. I go for Toxic, and he goes for Roar. And he roars me out to my Magmortar. I go for Flamethrower, just to get some damage on this, and I don't want to switch out. Which does a pretty big chunk to this Hippowdon. And, he uses Toxic on my Magmortar. He withdraws his Hippowdon and brings out Regirock. Which in the in Sandstorm, this thing is pretty awesome, since it gets that bonus from the Sandstorm, and also it's already awesome defenses. I go for Flamethrower. It doesn't do much, and I get the burn, which is Lumberry feels. So now I go into Crush, which is my Steelix, and he sets up the Stealth Rocks. Now he goes for Brick Break, which I think does about a third. Okay, it doesn't do a third, it does about a fourth. And I used Toxic on him, since with that Brick Break, well, since I knew I could probably take most hits that this Regirock could do. He goes for Brick Break again. And that brings me about to half. I set up my Stealth Rocks. Goes for Brick Break again. And this brings me about 2/3 of the way dead. So I just go for Earthquake, since it's stab, and will probably do a lot to this, which it does. And his Regirock takes more residual damage. And now he goes for Rest, which makes sense why he has the Lumberry. So he falls asleep and gets all his HP back. I go for Earthquake, and I get a crit on my Earthquake, which does a lot. He withdraws his Regirock and goes into Psycho, which is his Latios. And I went for Earthquake, since Latios has Levitate, it doesn't affect it. He gets hit by Sandstorm, like my leftovers. I leave Crush in to die, since Crush already did her job of hindering a Pokemon and also setting up Stealth Rocks. So she did her job. Now I send, well, takes damage from Sandstorm. Now I send in Queen, which is my Kingdra. And he withdraws his Pokemon and brings in Regirock. And I think I go for the Ice Beam. But Stealth Rocks takes out his Regirock. Yeah, I go for Ice Beam, but it fails since there was no target. Next, he sends in his Scizor. And I just go for Surf, since it's Stab, and probably the strongest attack I got. And it takes out the Scizor. And I take some more Life Orb damage. And I get hurt by the Sandstorm. Then he sends out his Latios. I switch out my Kingdra for Gluttony, since Gluttony is my special wall, or special tank. He goes for Draco Meteor, which does, I believe, like a pretty big chunk to Gluttony. And he gets hurt by the Sandstorm. And I get hurt by the Sandstorm. And my leftovers goes off. Goes for Draco Meteor again. And I think he hopes it kills, but I think, yeah, okay, Gluttony gets killed, but brings his Latios to -4. And Sandstorm brings him down pretty low. So I send out Queen again. And he withdraws his Latios and goes into his Hippowdon. And I go for Dragon Pulse, since it's Stab and will most likely kill Latios at that range. And I take more Life Orb damage and more Sandstream damage. Next he sends in Mighty, which is his Excadrill. And I withdraw Queen and send out Arrow, since I was figuring that Arrow can take an Earthquake, since it's flying. He withdraws Mighty and goes into Bubbles, which I think is Reuniclus. I just go for Earthquake, since it would be super effective on the Excadrill. And he goes for Recover. And now I go for Rock Slide, which does about the same damage as Earthquake. And he goes for Psychic, and that does brings me down to about another Psychic killing me. So I just go for another Rock Slide, hoping that it would flinch, and I do get the flinch. So I go for another Rock Slide, and it takes out this Reuniclus. And now he sends out his Latios. And I go for Rock Slide. And I believe it takes out his Latios. And then he sends out his last Pokemon, which is his Excadrill. And he goes for Rock Slide, but he misses. And I go for Earthquake, and it takes out his Excadrill, I think. Yeah, it takes out his Excadrill. And that is the end of the battle. Rate, comment, subscribe, and link to my opponent will be in the description below.